Hey, Rob, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
I love seeing
Saturday is
your
great.
background. Looks like it looks like when I'm in Lions Bay. When I'm here, it looks like I'm in the jungle, but I'm in Lions Bay. Everybody goes, the background's fake. Why are you using a fake background? Do you get that?
Because you can see my shelf behind me. But I have heard people say it about your background
Yeah. No,
a lot.
I look at yours. It looks like it could be a fake background.
Yeah. Well, the Lions Bay one looks out of this world on camera, but it even looks even more out of this world in person.
Yeah,
So that's the crazy thing about it.
isn't it? It is. It's hard to explain to people what Lions Bay is like. And and all the videos that founded the movement were shot there, and on purpose too. When we decided to do it, we drove around to areas that felt right. Then we were looking for a place in the area that we felt right.
Well, you guys found it. You found it twice in Cancun too now.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, what are you feeling today? Are you feeling that fiery energy kind of, I got to get something done, I got to work today, I got to do things?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a few things that happened in my reality. It's been storming and raining for 3 days, and then the last 3 days I've been preparing for a presentation at Conscious Life Expo. So that's basically taken up all my time. And
Oh,
so today
right.
I'm like behind everything. And it's just like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, we want to go do things. Like, there's just too much to do today.
Yeah. Well, and also your wife, Carol, being Aries, she's like, I got to get it done today. Everything's got to get done today.
Yeah, she was. She was just like, we have to take Solar to go on a hike. We have to go barefoot. He hasn't been out in a while. She was just doing that. Not.
Well, she's
I'm like,
got
hold on.
Aries. So she's like hardcore. And I know, I feel it. Today I'm at the beach. I'm literally having to talk myself off of cliffs of things to do. Like, I'm like fiery. I like all these things that I want to do. And I'm like, I want to do them right now. And I want to get mad at people that aren't doing them. that's, that's what I feel like today.
I was just feeling a little bit of like, what's going on? Like I was just feeling that a few minutes ago. Like, do I have control of this? What's going on? Because I was up late last night working on a presentation, staring at my computer all day long, and yeah, so I feel a little bit off the
Yesterday was a
norm.
decide day. Yesterday was a decide day, and then today is the day to take action. Tomorrow is a manifestation day. Friday is the embodiment day, and then Saturday is literally Saturday is a something that people don't expect. It's literally going to be, boy, something's going to happen.
That's good for me. I'll be around a bunch of wizards on Saturday, and I won't be working. I'm presenting on Sunday, so I'll be like with all the people and relaxing on Saturday. So it's going to be a good day for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really cool. So, and everybody in the comments, can you guys do? There's something going on with the algorithm. I've noticed it jump to 150 and then down to 60 and then back up. Can you go down and hit the forward button on the bottom right hand, the little arrow? Send it off to yourself. Send it off to a friend. Send it off to someone who should watch this conversation. Also, send it off to an enemy. Yeah, you never know. Maybe there won't be an enemy anymore. And then put down in your comments here. Put down what your intention is today or what you're feeling. So your intention, what you're feeling, and these things, when you do that in engagements, it also helps drive the algorithm. The algorithm needs to know that we're serious.
I don't think I can share. What can I do? Add to channel. Mm. Anyways, um, February. What's going on in February? Aren't we going through a war right now, astrologically?
Well, so here's what's happened. We are 2 weeks into community. The first 3 months that we're talking about is all personal health issues. And be personal physical health, mental, emotional health, or spiritual health issues that were coming up. And if you look around you, I mean, you're probably seeing the same thing I'm seeing. A lot of people are going through something. It's divorces, it's breakups, it's personal issues, it's health issues. It's like insane. It's to an insane level. Now we're 2 weeks into community. That means that my personal issues for the last 3.5 months are starting to leak into my relationships, my work, the people I work with, and they're things that are blowing up. People like in the next couple of weeks, you expect literally divorces of business, divorces of relationships. Sometimes it's people are like they're saying, okay, I no longer can do this. And because what's happening is we're being asked to raise our frequency. And as we raise our frequency, there's a lot of things that we compromised with that weren't okay with us. Like, like I took a job I didn't like, or I haven't been taking care of my body or my health. I haven't been taking care of my mental health. I haven't been getting out to the beach. And all that stuff that we haven't done right is coming up for review and it's being shown to us in some visceral way right now. And for the next 2.5 months, you're going to see acceleration of my local community, my PTA, my church group, my school group, my work, my associate, my friends. There's going to be little bits of like this belongs, this doesn't, like I don't like this anymore. People breaking up. Like I've seen so many friendships that are just like gone their separate ways. And it doesn't matter what the reason is because they're happening all over the place. Everybody has a reason for it. It's because you didn't support Palestine or you didn't support Israel or you said something wrong or you didn't do this or you're not taking care of yourself or you eat meat or you're a plant eater. Like, I mean, literally that's what's happening.
Yeah, I'm noticing people are getting on their path a lot more solidly.
Yeah.
And the positive part of that is everybody's, recognizing this is the year of abundance and things are clicking in. But then everything that you're saying has to happen as we start switching realities and start going in a new direction. We can't hold on to what we've been carrying with us up to this point. That's the trade-off for us ascending, us manifesting, us creating, is that everything is shifting at all times. I think the positive way, or neutral way to observe friendships dissolving or a change in career is that in the present moment everything is, and this is just us actually noticing that we're shedding personalities and we're
Yeah.
shedding
Yeah.
characters, um, and getting used to that, getting skilled with that. It doesn't mean that we're oblivious or how do I say the word? Like that
Apathetic.
there's apathy. Yeah,
Apathetic.
apathetic.
Yeah.
I was like, is that even a word? Like we don't care about it. Um, it doesn't mean that we don't care about it, but it just means that this is life. Every breath, every moment is a creation and it's a death to what was.
Yes, and this is where the framing of the perception comes in. Like if I and this I have a lot of people that are going through personal issues, and or like in their family or whatever, and so I get this in one of my groups that I work with. And they're talking about how this person has hurt them and they have to draw a boundary and all this, and I'm like, it's fine for you to draw a boundary, and you need to draw boundaries, but if you draw the boundary about one item with somebody and you do it about a second person and a third person, by the fourth person that you have to draw that boundary with, you have to realize that the reason why you keep getting that is because there's something in you have to draw a boundary with. And that's what's being revealed in it right now is just basically our life is giving us the education of what we need to move ahead. I believe it's all good. I believe that everybody is going in the right direction. And how much pain, like some people are like, charge, go ahead, I'm doing it, I'm leading. Some people are like, well, they're going, I'm going. Some people are like, yeah, I see everybody moving. Some people are like, no, I'm staying here. Some people are like walking the other way. And some people are like, you're not moving me. Now, it depends on where you sit on that scale and how much pain you're going to experience. Because when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, human beings change. And if they're not changing right now, it's because the pain of staying the same isn't bad enough yet. And if they just keep out there, it'll get bad enough.
We're definitely motivated by pain to move away from it. it's a very strong force. And so we can definitely use that by amplifying the things that we would like to not be anymore. Um, but also remind ourselves to choose the direction. Otherwise, you're getting it chosen for you, likely by somebody else. Call it your boss or
Yes.
a relationship that doesn't really serve you. You're being carried in their sails.
Yes. Yeah, it's exactly it. It's like this is time now that people are being asked to choose their own direction because in the age of Aquarius, age of Pisces is very divisive. It's black or white, a lot of control, a lot of leadership. Age of Aquarius is we become our own heroes. We become our own superpowers. We become our own bosses. That's what the age of Aquarius is. And then we're moving into that age. I mean, we're in there, but we've been in there since 2012.
It's a
But we're
transition period. Not
yes,
like
we're
the
starting to feel it.
it's not like the circadian cycle where it's just one thing. We're talking about thousands of years. So the doorway in is not instantaneously. It's a process, and we actually choose. We're kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? We can even think back 30 years ago about how everything was different. Things were tolerated differently
They
30
were.
years ago
Yeah.
compared to the energy of now. And we can write it off and just say it's like politically correctness and people have evolved in what they feel is okay or not, but it's literally a shift in consciousness. We're going through seasons on this planet in terms of temperature, but also there's seasons in terms of energetic conscious awareness. So there's times when there's more sun coming into our reality and that's making things warmer and the plants grow and everything. But then there's also times where there's different levels of consciousness because we're connected to that field of energy, and that shifts how we are as humans here.
So
And so for me, I've been a teacher, I've been a coach, and what I've noticed in terms of like the shift into Aquarian age is that it's going from guru, disciple, even parent, child, teacher, student, and it's going more into we're all learning from each other. Like children, for instance, are growing up in a world where they know more about this world that they're growing up in than their
yes.
parents. And that wasn't the case 30 years ago. 30 years ago, the parents knew more about the environment that the child exists in than the child did. Now the children are teaching the parents how to use, their devices, which are very important in this reality. The children are teaching the parents how to even speak. Like, what does FYI mean? Like even the language is evolving at a faster pace than the parents can keep up with, and the kids are already there.
Talking about from a guy who's 55 years old, I have, and I when I was a kid, it's funny because Jason is the guy in our organization everybody goes to for the technology, the way to get stuff done, and all that. And I'm like, I used to be the guy when I was 25. I was the guy that I had billionaire business partners, and I was the guy
Hmm.
they came to when their computers didn't work, when they wanted to learn about this new world and all this. And I find myself on the other side of it now, which is I mean, there's a lot of people in this chat that can reference that. Um, and the other part too, I was having the conversation the other day. Is I can figure it out, but it's just I don't want to.
Somebody said something to me yesterday. It was like nice. Uh, PPI or something like that. I was like, what? It was like some abbreviation that I didn't know what it was, and I was like, geez. And it stood for profile pic. I still don't even PFP, PF
What
profile
is
pic. I don't know. It was apparently the profile picture is important to a certain generation, but so they have a PFP, a fast way of saying it. Uh, but yeah, that made me feel like I was on the other side too, because I was like, how do I not know this thing?
profile pic? Man, I better change my profile pic then. I don't think that's a very. I mean, I just like whatever one works.
Yeah, It's
Well,
like,
you know what's funny? My face is changing so fast that uh, within every month, my camera and my iPad and all that, my face recognition
oh,
don't work. Speaking,
wow.
yeah,
It's funny when you make when Human Garage makes posts from their account and they post you, I can kind of tell like how far ago it was based on how you look. Like like if it was recent or if this is an old post. Like you just posted a couple on dehydration, and I know one of them was old.
yeah. It is. But that's what's cool is that part of the reason why one of the reasons why I came live is because on a daily basis is that people will see the change in magnitude, but not feel or be able to see the story as it happened. And this is a living document of my personal change, and that's really important because I have been in human health and human consciousness. I've been working around this my whole life, and what like even this last month, I've been changing so fast. I just stopped even looking. Like I stopped trying to track the changes because it's like, man, my body's changing, my face is changing, my hair's changing, everything. I mean, look, my hair. It's hard to see. The lights make it whiter than it is, but my hair is like going really blonde. And and I uh, and to be honest with you, everybody you would think that's like, well, this is really exciting, but and it is exciting. Sorry, done, but it is exciting. What goes along with it was I was used to something different, and there still is the change. Every time I change, I have this feeling that when people around me, well, how do they perceive me? I go through this journey of am I different? Am I perceived different? Stuff like that.
Do you the That's part of awareness, right? When we can actually sense ourself changing. And there's
Yeah.
that quote about like going back to a place and realizing that it's not like when you go back to a childhood city and you realize that it's not the city that's changed, it's you that's changed.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and you get that awareness. It's really easy to see if you go back to your childhood city and you're like, wow, everything's pretty, there's a new building right there, but everything's pretty much the same, but it feels so much differently because you're in a completely different perspective. Even just like going back to a childhood park that you remembered was huge, or like a hill that was huge because you were only like 3 feet tall,
Yeah.
and you go back and you're like, wait, that's the hill I used to play on? That thing looks tiny. um, but you can get little sensations of that day to day and how we relate to things, and that's a part of awakening. That's a part of us being aware. I think that this whole ascension or wakening up is our own perception of self grows. It's our conception of self, like what we identify as self is expanding. And at first, when we're just humans on this planet, we're aware. I have to go to work, I have to eat, I have to sleep, and then we become aware of our impact, like you were saying, how other people are perceiving us. What am I doing? But then we can even start feeling other people. We can start intuiting the earth, and feeling the winds, like the Native Americans, and I don't know if that's the right word to use, indigenous people, the indigenous tribes, they had different energies in the winds they could feel. I forget what they are, but there's a connection where we're bringing the sense of self from in our skin to out into the environment, and we actually can start feeling the environment's emotions, feeling the environment's intuitions, and really being connected to that basically grows ourself into the planet, into the world,
I
into
watched.
the universe.
I watched a documentary piece about that, and when we grow and eat food from our exact local environment, complete local, and as close to us as possible, Like when you grow plants and food for yourself, you spit on the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
It bonds the DNA into the plant, so it's more readily accepted. So like you get a big batch of seeds, you spit on. But that's what they actually say is that you start to be able to connect with the wind and when something's going to change or when a storm is coming and stuff like that. But it has to do with consumption of information because food or even content, like if I look at content from all over the world, yeah, I mean, it does something, but what it does, it also takes a little bit away from my ability to perceive my local environment because I only have so much capacity to receive information in a content stimulation.
So let's go back to what you said about the seed thing, because that was interesting. That reminded me of, I need to find the studies, but there's studies where they've taken cells from people. I know there's one where they took hair from people,
Yeah,
and then there's one where they took some other cells and they separated it from the person, and they started seeing the cells were reacting to stress as the actual scientists that they took the cells from, like as he was going through the airport, the cells were reacting to stress. And also, I remember the hair cells were reacting to diseases that the person would get. And so, if you take that from a plant standpoint, if you're eating and taking in plant matter and that plant is within your environment, so it's already, you're both kind of harmonized to the same field, so that signal is more receptive. So when that plant is connected to the earth and it's connected to the elements, when it's having a feeling, like if we're just reverse engineering the study, I'm going out on a limb here, everybody. So I'm not like, this isn't actual, Western science, but if the plant is feeling something and we're ingesting that plant, what's the fruit or whatever, then we're also feeling that same thing to a subtle degree.
there's actually there is some Western science around it. So what happens is our DNA has a pairing which is RNA. That's why these latest RNA medications
Yeah.
have a massive effect. Okay, so what happens is our DNA is a triple helix, and it has at the end of it has what we call telomeres.
Right.
Those are antennas, and the
Mhm.
shorter the antenna, the older our body feels, looks, acts, and receives. So if our antenna, if we're compressed in our body tight, like bodybuilder tight, we're compressing, literally compressing the telomeres, compressing the DNA. If we're like tight, 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 that's why as we get looser, we get younger looking. That affects our biological age. The signal of the DNA is through the crystalline structure of the fascia is receiving information. The RNA is information that tells the DNA what to turn on, what to turn off. That's why when we eat certain foods, it happens a certain way. So things that you can look at is Bruce Lipton. He actually did research on this, and one of the famous studies he did was he was analyzing patients' blood. Okay, and he took the blood, drew the blood, and he was looking at it in a spectrum microscope. And an hour later, the blood underneath the microscope, while he had a video, went crazy, haywire. And he's like, I've never seen that before. I don't know what's going on. What he found out the next day was at the exact moment that it happened, that person had an accident 60 miles away. So
Right.
the blood was, and now Bruce Lipton is a good place to go to start hearing this and seeing this, and he'll talk about the cellular, because each cell is its own world. It has its own nucleus, own power plant, own cleaning system, has its own government. But the cells give up, they're all unique, but they give up their autonomy to a central source, which is a narrative. That's our perception. So our cells react to perception. A couple things that you can look at for reference point is Lynn McTaggart, the intention experiment, and the field. And then another one is Dean Radin, Connected Minds. Those are some of the old classics where actual science was done on this. And Lynn McTaggart, because of the internet, did an experiment where she had everybody around the world focus on certain attributes, and she coordinated them through the internet. And she actually did the science and did the experiment. Super powerful.
So back to the DNA, where you're saying that it's those cells, all of everything in our body, the proteins, the peptides are responding to the
Yeah.
narrative. That essentially means that it doesn't necessarily matter what our environment is. We could have perfect parents, go to an Ivy League, have degrees from Ivy League schools, have a good job. But if our narrative is that this sucks, I wish it was better, then we're suppressing, or our cells are in that stressful narrative, and they're responding as if they're suffering. And then that gets reflected into literally our physical health, our physical body, our physical capabilities.
So this is something, okay, now we can touch on something that I observed, which is why I no longer, like I grew up learning all these things, implementing them in business in my life. But then when I became a practitioner and we became famous as practitioners, I had all these really wealthy, successful people from disciplines and gurus and yogis and billionaires come in, and I got to know them over like 20 hours, like really know them, like what's going on in your stomach, what's going on in your thoughts, what are the problems, like you're working on with somebody in intimate contact about removing somewhere in their body. You're talking to about psychology, about their body, physiology, biology, everything. And here's what I found. The more success or money that people had typically in this world, the more dysfunctional they were in their body and their lives. Like, and you know, and I'm open to be wrong in this, but show me a billionaire whose kids aren't messed up. Like show me one. I mean, they when you get to know them, if you look at them on Instagram, it's a little different. If you get to know them, like, should I say names? I'm thinking about it. There's
I
some
have
low,
one that I know. I know a story, and their kids are messed up for sure.
like
But I can't say the
I've
name.
worked with. I'll just ramble off with the whole bunch I've worked with: Disney's, Getty's, Rockefellers, Morgans. These are all people that I've had children from, and they have all of the resources available to them, but their narrative is that there's something wrong. And as a result of their narrative, they have aberrant behaviors and drug use, and they have like insecurities and all these other things. So this is why I was saying, and I had all these health gurus that weren't healthy. And I mean, like some of the top yogis in the world are my personal clients. And I'm like, okay, there's something going wrong. And I mean, there are some environmental issues that are in play. Like, for example, we didn't have 50 years ago, we didn't have the chemicals that we have in our world today. So, you know, that being granted, but that just means that the practices that work, that were the top practices that kept people healthy and happy 50 years ago to hundreds or thousands of years ago, that means that they no longer all work the way they used to. They have to be modified to adapt to the world. And I can't do an ancient practice and have it work on today's world. Like for example, I can't eat chemicals that affects which affects like RNA, which affects my DNA, and then expect to just be able to breathe my way out of it. I
Right.
I can't. If I'm dehydrated, I'm not getting the right signals or the right hormones, so I can chant all I want. And so we found in this thing is that if we give if our body, and then the other part of it is that we give them all this technology, all of these tests, all of these supplements. If we give the body, my finding is this: after all these years, give the body minerals so that it can hydrate itself and get the proper signal. Do something daily to be in nature. Ground yourself, breathe, and move. Everything else goes away. Everything else will solve itself. Your body is the machine that heals. And we're trying to tell our body what to do. Like we're smart enough to do that. There's no way. And I know you believe in this too. This is what your lifestyle is.
Right. And that's where, like, if you have a question of I'm sick, the first answer is exactly what you just said. Go outside. And that applies to I'm sick, if people say that I'm dealing with this thing, that applies to I don't know what to do in this career choice, my relationship. All of the greats throughout all of history always got their inspiration from nature because we are nature. So it's like we're trying to figure out the problems in our life by sitting indoors in the stress of our job, on a chair, in EMF, like a two-story building or on the 19th floor of an apartment complex, like completely disconnected from the earth. And the earth, nature, that's your natural state. That's where you are strongest. That's where you can make a solid choice, a solid decision. And it's very difficult to be clear if we're not connected. And it's powerful. And there is science on it. We do, like, we are made, our feet, for example, has 250,000 sweat glands. It's the most sweat glands in our entire body. Why? Because the surface of our soul, right? It's our soul. It connects to the earth. That's going to increase conductivity to the planet. Go outside, be barefoot, so you're not just connecting to the sock in the bottom of your shoe, because that's not telling you anything. The earth is our it's us. It's our teacher. It's where we will find harmony so that we can make the choices. It becomes clear out there.
So, Miss Maris 333 says hierarchy of needs matter though. People in poverty don't have this luxury. I want to take this topic because first of all, I'm just going to say flat out, I've had tens of millions of dollars. I've been in complete object poverty, couldn't feed myself.
Me too. I've been there.
So 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 when somebody says that, that means that if I have all the money and I have all the needs, I should be okay. But I can tell you from working at the top of society with people that have all the money and needs, they're some of the sickest people I've ever worked with.
Yeah,
So
they're not
having
hearing that.
so this comes back down into what is my frequency and what do I manifest? And I mean, I love how you talk about this. Why don't you address it?
Well, hierarchy of needs, I'm assuming talking about Maslow's
Yeah,
pyramid, right? And
fair
at the
enough.
bottom, we're talking about food and shelter. And I've been without food and shelter before.
I have
And I
been
know
too.
you have as well. You've been in places where you can't even control where you're living. And that's the place where the outdoors, what we're talking about, becomes like all you have. And when you get to that, and if you read like Siddhartha and you like look at some, like even the Jesus story, they weren't living, like all of the lessons and all of their wisdom isn't coming from being in a mansion. Like
No.
it's coming from having nothing. It's coming from fasting, like literally taking away food, taking away water, taking away shelter. If you really are searching for answers, go bury your feet on the earth for 24 hours. Face your fears of darkness outside. These experiences, they're not comfortable. Being, quote, poor, um, it's not comfortable, but it's real, and you get to see yourself in that. And the thing is, with wealth, it's very difficult to do this. You're not going to just go sleep in a tent for 6 months if you're wealthy. You have responsibilities. You have people relying on you. You have businesses that are relying on you to make decisions, or you just gotten used to a higher level of life, and there's no way you would even think of doing that. It's free. What we're saying, go outside. It's free. It doesn't, like, it's available to
What
everyone.
about attracting? So here's another topic is that I've noticed that money, okay, I'm going to use money in this example, but money isn't what buys, like Human Garage was not built on money. It was built on currency flow. It was built on having people contribute and help to an idea. So it wasn't built on money. And yeah, we have money now, but we didn't have any money, like zip. And we built this whole worldwide organization with millions of people. So what about frequency? Because I don't consider people who are, and again, if you have no money, I've been there. If you are, there's a difference between being broke and being poor. Broke is a state of being, poor is a mentality. Poor mentality brings more of it. Broke means I don't have it right now, but I'm learning a lesson from it.
Right. There was a time when I was running out of money, and I had to sell my car. I had to sell my truck, and I didn't have any really means of getting any more money for food, so I had to sell my truck. And my relationship to that event was very positive, because for at least 10 years before that, I had a desire to know what it was like to ride my bike around, to be like a bike rider in the city of Los Angeles. And it just never made sense. Like, why would I do that if there was times where I had 4 vehicles. Why would I ride my bike? But it got to the point after I closed my gyms that I was selling my truck, and I had $4,000. It's probably worth more than that, but I needed to sell it like that day so I could have some money. So I sold it, and it was such a positive experience for me, because it's like, cool, now I get to experience this other level of reality in this city that I was curious about. And it eventually got to the point where that $4,000 ran out, and that was my first fast. It was like, cool, now I'm not going to eat because I can't afford food. And all of the experience, my vibration kept on elevating. You would think, if you're just kind of looking at it, that, oh, it's stress, it's fear, it's what's going to happen, confusion, none of that crept in. I was so present that all I knew is that I have a few days that I can last without food, and I'm going to trust that I've been in every situation I've ever been in my life, I've made it through. And that's one thing that I always remind myself. If things start to seem like they should be getting stressful, I remind myself, like, I've gotten through everything that I've ever gotten through before. I'll get through this. And it's in that vibrational state that a business associate presented himself in front of me,
Right.
and we ended up partnering up. And part of the next business deal is he's coming. We're starting a business. He's coming with hundreds of thousands of dollars. He also is coming with getting a house at the top of the Hollywood Hills where we are going to work. He's also coming with the sign-on bonus for me that I could then use to purchase my dream vehicle. The vehicle that I was dreaming about, I purchased. So I'm new house, new car, new salary, new responsibilities, from the place of literally don't have money for rent, don't have money for food, don't have a vehicle. So like that's what gets created in those places when you are able to be skillfully high vibrational.
Okay, so MS Maris 333 said, you own a gym and 4 cars. That's not poverty. That's what we're saying. That's literally what we're saying. It's not poverty, it's being broke. And the other part too is, I'm curious what your life looks like if you've ever been without money. I came from prison. I had nothing. And people are, yeah, that's okay. You have this, you built these businesses. Everything I did, I built from zero and nothing. And I had to restart my life a couple of times. Like, come out of prison and like you can't even get a job. And so
Solitary
we're not talking
confinement too, right?
solitary confinement, yeah. So like, if you haven't lived in solitary confinement for 17 months, it's pretty hard to talk about, what pain is. And rags to riches stories, but often they're not telling the entire story accurately. No, we're talking about MS Maris. I guess you don't know us or me very well. I'm talking about poverty is a state of, what we're saying is, yes, I know true poverty. I've worked in and around true poverty. I have never been poor. I have been broke many times. Poor is a mental state that attracts more of it. Broke is a state of being in which I don't have the resources to take care of my world. You're right. Poverty is literally a state of being. But You also have people that are always, another state of being is, I'm always getting beat up on. I'm unlucky. Another state of being is, I'm lucky. I win everything. Everything works out. This is where I love what you talk about, Rod, because we attract to us what we radiate. Our world is not this way, and people rise out of poverty every day. There are stories, people. So does that mean you're poor? You can't rise out of it? How do they rise out of poverty? Is it like, and if one person could do it, everybody can do it. This whole experiment of human crush is, if one person could do it, everybody has the opportunity. So why don't they? There's people that come out of object poverty all the time. This this kid that I was talking to came from the Philippines. He lived in the well, and you're Filipino. He came from the shacks in the Philippines, in the wastelands, and he worked, attracted situations, and finally got, and then came over as a student, and worked his way over as a student, and now literally owns $400 million worth of real estate. And this is all in the course of 30 years. So there's rags to riches stories all over the place from people from poverty. So it's not about the physical state. It's about the emotional state. And that's what we're talking about. Is that you've never been poor, but you have definitely been broke.
The thing is that we also assign positive and negative
I
to
wish I could bring this person up. Poor is a state of mind is the most ignorant and abusive thing to say to people that struggle. I really want to know. I really want to bring you up. I want to see what your situation is. I mean, you got a phone and you got an internet connection. I've gone without it. I didn't even have that with money to eat. I've been there. So have you ever been there, MS Maris 333? Have you ever been there? Tell me what your current situation is. Do you have a job? Have you ever been homeless? Have you ever been without those things? Because I have.
I've slept in storage units. I know where the Korean 24-hour spas are, like the Korean spa in LA, the We Spa. I remember during this time they raised the price from $25 a night to stay overnight to like $45 a night, and that was like, what the heck? Now I have to sleep on my air mattress in my storage unit. He's not assuming, he's asking you to come up. He's inviting you to come live with him.
I can't get you live because it looks like your account is private. I'm trying to bring them live to have a conversation. And there's no assuming, and I'm just being very, very clear about this. Massive empathy. What it sounds like to me is that you have sympathy. Empathy is the ability to understand, but to see the possibility. Sympathy is to relate to it so much that I can't see them out of the situation. If I can't see somebody coming out of poverty and I look at them, then I have sympathy for them. But if I see the potential, then if I see the potential, let's see, sensory request. There we go. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Good
Hi,
vibes.
Hi there. What's your name?
Marissa.
Marissa? Hey,
Nice
Marissa.
to meet you.
Hi,
When's your birthday, Marissa?
September 30th.
Oh, okay,
Libra.
Scorpio. Okay, good. And you,
Libra.
oh, sorry, I mean Libra. But are you a 8 degree or 7 degree?
I don't know the degrees.
Okay, well, Libra and Libra. We got two Libras
Oh,
below, so you can each be alone. And I'm open to the conversation,
yeah, I
but
didn't mean to, I'm not trying to argue. I'm not argumentative. I'm in these spaces a lot, or I follow a lot of healing pages and gurus and relationship pages. And it's just always the part that seems to be missing to me is well, first of all, I have this mindset that's we're not free until we're all free. And there's so much suffering in this world, and people that don't have access to this stuff couldn't even do this type of thing. Especially a lot of healing work is very expensive. I don't know if you notice, for the most part, people charge even more than traditional therapy, which we all know that's not great anyway. and our medical system, but then try moving in these like non-traditional spaces. They're really expensive. I mean, people charge thousands for retreats, and you're just like, I'm always looking at that. It's not my situation, but I just am like, well, there's so many people and like my family, they could never do something like that. They couldn't even dip their foot in the water of something like that, when they're just trying to survive, like really and truly trying. Because a lot of people will say, oh yeah, I was broke, but they don't know like true poverty.
Yeah.
It can be really dark.
So are we talking poverty or broke?
Poverty, like,
Yeah, but do you think poverty is a state of being or a state of mind?
I think calling it like a state of mind is ignorant. Like,
How about people that get out of poverty? How do you explain that? What
they
did they
a
do?
lot of times they're not telling the whole.
No,
You
I
keep digging through
mean
their
people who lived
stories.
in the ghetto. People like there's thousands of examples of people who lived in
Yeah, and the people that make it out is such a tiny. You can almost call it luck, and people
Yeah.
don't like saying luck.
Oh,
It'll be
hold
like
on a second here. Hold on a
one
second
out
here.
of.
Do you believe that you're lucky
Why
because you have a
did
place
the
to
guy
live in?
write the book Rich Dad Poor Dad? He like goes into how that shapes so much of who you grow to be when you just don't know certain things, and that's why poverty is
He's never been to prison.
generational.
He's never slept on the street. He's never been to prison. I have.
Well, you might be one out of tiny, less than 1%.
So
And there's
if
like
you can do
factors.
something, can I do it?
I mean, yeah, I guess yes.
So
But
what if we were to do things and show people how to get out of there? The way I got out of there was I did something physically that was for me so that I could perceive something other so I could have a better space.
yeah,
And then I stepped on that. That's what our program
I mean,
is.
it's very like what word, like just generalized. I mean, like, I don't know, if you really go talk to somebody who's like living in that extreme poverty and just tell them, well, it's your mindset, you know, stop thinking like this or just do this, and they're like literally struggling to survive. Maybe they're a single parent, maybe they are just working a bunch of jobs, like they don't have time, energy, money to live.
How much do you think?
Themselves.
How much do you think
Or
I charge for my?
knowledge.
How much do you think I charge for my services?
Oh, I'm not sure how much you charge. I don't know if you're one of those people.
How about
well, you might be rare. You might genuinely be rare. Like I said, come on.
You know what? I don't charge anybody, and I help people. I don't even know their income, and there's hundreds of people that are even in this chat that would say that.
That's great, but you're in these spaces, and I'm sure you know how many people charge.
Oh yeah,
I
came from this
guru
space.
healing,
Yeah,
$5,000 retreats. Yeah. Even like people that don't have a name for themselves. You've grown a pretty big name, and they'll charge, oh, come to Costa Rica, $6,000. You're like, okay, but that's only reaching certain people.
Oh no.
And
Hold on a second. 100% of the programs to heal yourself, to get coached, trained, to heal and help and become all the way up to a practitioner is 100% free. We don't charge for any of that anywhere. Yeah. If you want to support our mission, because doing this isn't free, setting this up isn't free. So people who have money buy supplements and all that. And we tell people how to do it all by themselves without any charge.
Because I'm not arguing for me. Like, this isn't my situation. I just have this thought is like, there's a lot of like ego sometimes involved in these spaces too, like spiritual ego and just ego. And then they don't see, like, I just think if we're not really free as a world society until we all are. And
do you think that's reasonable? Do you think
reasonable?
I mean, do you think that I can't suffer and like I've had times where I'm suffering and other people are not suffering, and that was actually what helped me not suffer.
It's beneficial to suffer.
Yeah,
is what Gary's
saying. Like places like third world countries where it's decades upon decades of suffering and living like that, and that's beneficial. I think we're coming from a kind of like
it's
West
happening, right?
suffering.
So why is it happening? what's your answer to why is it happening
Well,
if it's not supposed to be?
generationally, right? I mean, we also know about like, what is it called, where the genes pass on information.
Right. So if we're
And
talking
like
about multiple lifetimes, then that would make sense that we could live an entire lifetime without wealth
epigenetics.
and learn from that lifetime so we can carry it into the next lifetime. That's exactly how I come to terms with the world and the planet is I'm not thinking about it day to day.
Well, I think a lot
My
of people
situation,
don't want to think about it. It's hard to think about. It's easier not to look at that and make all these like thoughts
what
about
about
how
a
it's
baby?
fine
What
and
about
how
a
it's
baby that
good.
has cancer at 2 years old or 3 years old? I deal with that every day. Is
Yeah.
that fair?
Well, of course not.
Okay. So
I
did
don't.
the baby do something wrong?
Well, no. This is my whole point. The people in poverty didn't do
So
anything wrong.
how could everybody be healthy? How could the world be okay if everybody has to be healthy or everybody has to be okay? How is that possible? Is that like what is the mechanism that makes that work?
Well, I don't know where I would connect like the cancer or like physical health with third world struggle, but I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, actually, because physical health and having cancer as a baby is worse. Because for third world party places where you go, the children are generally
they're
happy. They're
pretty
happier than the ones in the
happy
United States.
people.
Yeah, I've
Are
been
they?
there.
They're
I've been there.
happy.
I've been in the poverty. I've been in the slums. You in India?
Well, all children are happy because they don't. Children that are severely abused are happy because they don't know anything yet. Nothing is like fully come online, and then you hit your 20s and 30s, and you're like, that's when things come online of your situation. So you can't really say, oh,
Have you
yeah, all
ever?
children
Where do
are
you live?
happy.
Where do you live?
Seattle.
Have you ever left the United States?
Yes, I was in the military.
And where did you go?
Afghanistan, well, all over the Middle
So
East.
you were in the military.
Mhm.
What does the military do?
Yeah, I know that. Trust me. I I joined when I was 18, but I struggled with what that what the military stands for. It's about war.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. Maybe
I
that's
hear
why
what you're I
I'm
hear
so
what you're
passionate
saying.
about it. I don't know. I saw a lot, and that could
I
be
hear what
that.
you're saying. I've seen a lot too, but I've walked the streets of poverty and I've given my time to help kids
Yeah,
and families. I help people from all over the world. I even today,
yeah,
where they can't get any medical care. I do that but here's one thing I found is that helping somebody who's not ready to help them doesn't help them.
that's
It
true.
actually causes more harm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So if somebody in poverty and I give them something and they're not ready for it, they self-destruct.
Yeah, but there's like this weird dynamic of that going back to hierarchy. If you're in that space, you're not gonna ever be ready to initiate that if you're just focusing on feeding yourself and barely surviving and not having people around you
So
to
I've been there.
model
By the
anything.
way, I've been there with brain damage, couldn't function after being incarcerated for 27 months and beat the shit and not being able to function, not having to work my way through. Yeah, I just came through that 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
After also having tens of millions of dollars from scratch before that. So I've had both ends of the spectrum. And what we were saying here is that it's about the state of the mind of the person. And the one thing that we can do is we can't change their environment, but what we can do is we can give them tools if they choose to use them, but they have to choose to use them. I can't get them to do it. That's the whole exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Fair
Yeah.
statement? Yeah.
I think these are good questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all ask ourselves this, and that's what life is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just encounter a lot of people in these spaces that they love that rags to riches. They love it. I was homeless. You hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Although a lot of these girls, oh, I was homeless. I was in my car, and I'm like, and then you dig into their story more, and it's not really
Fair statement. Fair
quite.
statement. Some people say that, but
They love doing that, and look where I'm now. I don't know what that is or why, but it's very common in these spaces of that rags to riches, and
But
Yeah, who am I to say
I
like,
also
oh,
get
you're
the same
lying?
story.
But
You
you
also get
start
the same
picking it
story.
apart, or you listen
You,
and you
But
could
why are
tell
you
that they're
picking it
not.
apart?
yeah.
The point of the
Well, it's just
story is to
my
inspire.
pattern
It's not
recognition that
to.
I'll start following these people, and then I remember things they say. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick it apart. I'm just saying I'll recognize all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I thought you said this, and then things won't line up, and it's just a pattern over
So
and
people
over.
are lying.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of people lie about
I
stuff.
came from this. You're like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, okay. Well, pretty authentically here. I mean, everybody can search our stories. It's
yeah.
pretty open. So not everybody lies, just not
Well, I'm not
everybody
saying
tells the
that.
truth.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think the thing is that our point is that it's a state of mind, and what we're doing is we're raising consciousness by leaving a beacon for people so that the ones who want to make the choice can make the choice.
yeah.
But I can't. I've tried to give stuff to people. Even I've gone and done therapy for people who didn't really want it. They said they wanted, they didn't, and it ended up causing problems for
They're
them.
the
No, I
worst.
got you. Like money is a currency, and you have to exchange that energy. Otherwise, you're right. It's like they got it for nothing. There is like an energy
Yeah,
exchange there. I get all that. I don't know why I'm so just, maybe because I live in Seattle and I just see such desperation and suffering and struggling. It just, I don't know. It's just hard.
I
I
get it.
just,
I get it.
it's not my situation. Like I'm arguing like it is. It's really not. But I just,
Can we?
like, how are we going to do this? How we can't just isolate ourselves off and,
You're bringing up a very,
feel.
very valuable point.
I
So,
don't know
and I want
if
you to know that
articulating it properly, but yeah.
I want you to know we recognize the point. We don't have time to carry on the conversation, but I'd like to have another conversation again at some point.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need in your life right now?
Um, I mean, I've been trying to do the 28-day resets. Like, I just don't stick with them.
Okay,
I hear that from a
yeah,
lot
but
of people that
and
start and stuff.
could you use some have you done any of the online classes?
Yeah, like the 1 day,
No, I meant
and then
the meetup groups where you can
no,
go and go with a coach. They're happening every day.
no,
Um,
or just on
there's also
Instagram.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll catch.
yeah, there's some online classes that can help. Did you have any brain injury while you were in the war?
No,
Or sorry, in the military?
not
Any
that.
head concussions or anything?
No.
Okay. Um, is there anything I can do to help you? Because I want to.
The question I always have is like, I don't have many physical things wrong, but mine always seem to manifest like emotionally.
Fair statement. Okay. So
No pain, no.
are you taking any of the supplements or anything like that we
Um,
recommend?
I use sea moss and just other herbs that I found
Okay.
on my own, kind of.
Okay. Can I forward you some supplements?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like.
So tell you what, let's do this. And there are classes that happen for the 28-day reset where you can go on with coaches, and then they have emotional processing at the end of every one of the classes, and you can find it in the 28-day reset because I want to help you get past that. And I feel something right now. I feel tension in here, which means to me that there's something you're not speaking to somebody, and it has to do with your heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to help you pass that. So DM me afterwards. I'm going to send you some
Okay.
supplements. And then please, in the 28-day reset, there are classes where you can go where the coaches, where they meet up. There's 20, 30, 40 people. They do maneuvers together, and then they get to talk about it. And I think you're going to find some of the answers in that class.
Okay.
Okay?
And so that's on your site.
And
Go to the
yeah, in the
website.
Circle site.
Okay.
In the Circle
Okay.
site, once you sign up for the 28-day reset, they'll list in the events. They'll list, and you can go and the coaches. And
Well, I wanted to come to the Los Angeles thing that you guys, if you're
but
still doing, is that like,
please,
because I like the
please,
in person.
if you do the 28-day reset, and you come to the Los Angeles one, you let me know, and I'm going to meet
Oh,
with you personally.
nice. Okay. I'm
Okay? It's really nice
thank you.
meeting you. Thank you for the discussion.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That was interesting. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, for coming on.
I think that's the whole issue is that I appreciate the discussion. I mean, it's without the discussion, there's other people that think that and feel that too. That's why, by the way, that's why we don't censor any of our comments. People go, why didn't you erase those comments when they say those mean things about you? Because I want people to be able to say them.
Yeah, you learn a lot from the interaction, right? Like as I was saying at the beginning of the conversation, it's not just the teacher that does the teaching. We just got like a little bit of a triangulation of two different perspectives,
Yeah.
and everybody watching gets something out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, Ra, I actually have to go to Dr. Nick.
Nice.
Hey,
Tell Nick I said
you know what they
hi.
say, oil's well that ends well.
Nick's
Hey, listen,
awesome.
have a really great weekend at the conference. Take some pictures, post a video or something like that. We want to support you there. So
Amazing.
post
All
a video
right, bye
saying
everybody.
you're going so we can support you and people can come up and say hi and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, bye everybody.
Bye, Ra. Thanks.